Now, one state's plan to counter an aging workforce by helping students reduce their debt level. Hari Srinivasan has a report tonight on what Maine is promising college graduates if they agree to live and work in the state for the next 4 Tuesdays. If they agree to live and stay in the state. And that is, we're going to be looking at it for the next 4 Tuesdays at different ways of rethinking college. It's a periodic series we do for our weekly segment on Making the Grade.
Maine is famous for noisy gulls and fishing ports, endless miles of rocky coastline, lighthouses that seem made for postcards, and of course the crustacean that is dipped in butter and served up for a luxurious dinner. But the state is also known for having the oldest population in the nation. The median age here is 43, and the trend has some local businesses concerned. Dana Connors is the president of the Maine State Chamber of Commerce.
Right now, 400,000, or a third of our population, is at retirement, has recently retired, or is about to retire.
In order to reverse that aging workforce, lawmakers here came up with an idea, an offer to all recent college graduates. Come and live and work in Maine, and we'll help you pay off your student loans.
Come back home, we'll help you pay off your student debt. I had the Farmore and the Bro Juice.
Maddie Daughtry is a state house representative from Brunswick. She owns a local brewery and was one of the sponsors of Maine's student loan payback offer.
The fact of the matter is, for my age group, we have some very serious issues facing us as far as being able to be a part of the American dream. When you have student debt, it can be hard to get a car. It can be hard to look at other jobs. It's really becoming a barrier to those next steps to the American dream.
Lex Darby.
According to the Federal Reserve Bank of New York, in 2017, Americans owed $1.4 trillion in student loan debt, and the amount of money borrowed doubled in the past 8 years. The debt relief comes in the form of a tax credit. It allows college graduates who work in the state to deduct student loan payments from their state income tax.
It can be over a 10-year plan. The amount varies whether it's a STEM degree or not. If it's a STEM degree, there's about up to a $5,000 credit, and then if it's a non-STEM degree, it's about up to $3,500 to $4,000. So the elderberry beer is coming back.
Daughtry took out a student loan. In order to save money after college, she moved back home to Maine and for a time lived with her parents. She says many graduates who left Maine need a financial incentive to return.
A lot of our friends keep saying they want to come back to Maine. And they say, you know, when we've saved up enough money or we've paid off our student debt, maybe we'll be able to return. There's a real strong draw to come home, but they're not able to pull down the types of salaries that they can get in Boston, New York, Washington, D.C.
What are you doing?
Erica Skiff took out $70,000 in loans to earn a bachelor's degree in nursing from St. Joseph's College.
It's a little overwhelming. I mean, you go through school and you don't think about it, and then you graduate and it's like, oh, I have to pay all this back now. And yeah, it's definitely overwhelming each month. Can you smile?
This summer, she and her husband Elias had their first child. Erica was given a 4-week maternity leave from her nursing job at 66% of her normal pay.
That 33% has left a pretty significant dent in the finances.
There.
Using the educational tax credit,
Hey, baby.
Erica receives $4,500 a year.
That credit allows us a little more wiggle room than we would normally have. I'm able to stay home without feeling the burden so much of not having the pay that I normally would have at work.
Student debt is a huge issue here in Maine, just like it is across the country.
Nate Wiles markets the tax credit for a campaign called Live and Work in Maine. We walked through downtown Portland as he explained how important a post-secondary degree can be to employers.
The commitment Maine has made to individuals who've invested in themselves, invested in their higher education, is to recognize the fact that a dollar is a dollar, but student debt is something different. Student debt is a recognition that you've invested in yourself. You've given yourself skills, whether over 2, 4, 6, 8+ years, that you didn't have before and that now adds value to you in the workplace.
The credit is also an attempt by Maine to upskill their workforce.
The amount of inspection on this.
Wick Johnson, the president of Kennebec Technologies in Augusta, says today's workforce calls for a secondary education. The company produces high-precision parts for aerospace defense and technology companies. Johnson says higher education is necessary to be globally competitive.
In and of itself, the bachelor's degree, the piece of paper is not a requirement. But we work in a very sophisticated environment. What we do is driven by the expectations of the market. And you have to have that workforce in order to comply with the expectations.
For Drew Lehman, a design supervisor at General Dynamics' Bath Iron Works facility,
This is probably about 300-foot ship.
who helps design Navy vessels, the tax relief goes toward $110,000 in student loans.
How does that $4,000 impact your life?
It impacts me greatly. Getting it in like bulk right in the beginning of the year from a tax credit, you can do whatever you want with it. You can buy a new car, you can buy a new house, you can do a lot with $4,000.
Matthew Glass thought about leaving Maine for work, but decided instead to stay and open his own business.
Order for Lou?
The tax credit has meant he can pour money back into the food truck cafe he opened 3 years ago.
So, how much of a consideration did you give the tax breaks in deciding whether to stick around or not?
Quite a bit. My full amount is $373 a month that I can get back, the maximum reimbursement, which is more than my monthly payment. So essentially, my student loans are paid in full by the state as long as I stay.
As for Maddie Daughtry's student loan debt, she graduated too early to qualify for the tax credit she helped sponsor, and she cannot take advantage of the program.
So, how long did it take you to get out of debt? Are you out?
Nope, I still have $4,982 left. Not that I checked this morning.
In Maine, for the PBS NewsHour, I'm Hari Srinivasan.